Welcome to the Guiding Brands podcast with your host and chief guide, Karen Vick. This is a podcast for service-based small businesses who want to get a handle on their marketing so they can attract and gain new customers. Hello, everyone. It's 2024, and this is the first interview of the year. My guest and I have been talking about having this conversation for quite some time, and I'm happy that the day is finally here. I hope that you'll enjoy the conversation as much as I will. And today I'm talking with Rob Mattox. He calls himself the Forever Hope Dealer. I want to learn more about this because this is a side that I didn't know about. He is a dynamic, creative leader who has authored 2 books on hope and leadership. He's developed 2 tabletop games and produced a variety of videos and websites. His global perspective has been shaped by travels. He's worked in 19 countries. Mind-blowing. I'm jealous. And Rob's dedication to social advocacy is evident in his 10 years of supporting vulnerable children. He is on a mission to adopt teenage boys and, help them through life's challenges. Rob is pursuing essentialism and a decluttered lifestyle with only 100 purposeful personal items. Wow. I want to see you do this. He's a recreational mountain climber and cyclist. And Rob is also a certified guide with Storybrand and a business solopreneur for 3 years now. Our focus will be, our conversation primarily will be on the Storybrand piece of things. After all, this is a marketing podcast, but I would love to learn a little bit more about Rob. And tell you the truth, I feel like I haven't done anything in my life after reading, his bio. So Rob, if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. Well, maybe as my bio says, I am an Enneagram 7, which is kind of a personality trait definer. And it basically, my core fear is that I'm going to miss out on something. And so I need to just go everywhere and try everything kind of thing. So that's the reason for so many, such a variety of projects and places. And yeah, just a clarification, I've been in 19 countries. I've only worked probably in maybe half of those. So,
Okay.
And for short stints, I lived in Ecuador for about, in Costa Rica for almost 2 years. And that definitely shaped who I am and still does. Just the contrast of life in Latin America versus the United States is very different. And I have friends down there and they have taught me a lot. They've taught me about hope. And so, yeah, it's been quite a ride, but I'm here, kind of by accident in a way, because I never set out to be in marketing. I never thought to myself, hey, you should do that. And, but I think what happened is the pieces slowly came into place. It was like, okay, I'm creative. I love to get a message out, and I'm always about just unforgettable messages, and then just a couple other skill sets that kind of came together, and then one person spoke into my life and said, you're really good at this, you should consider doing marketing. And so I was like, okay, well, I was at a transition in my life, and I was leaving kind of just like a retail job, and I thought, well, let's try it out. So I signed up with Storybrand.
Interesting. So tell me a little bit about this idea of being a hope dealer, a forever hope dealer. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So in my life, I've found myself in kind of in the trenches is what I say, just in hard places with people going through the hardest of times. And I lead a nonprofit now, Carolina Care Center. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we're with people that are just going through struggling to get out of poverty, addiction, just cycles of hopelessness. And so when I years ago when I was first working with guys coming out of incarceration, a lot of them struggling with addiction and just the recidivism, the cycle there. Everyone had a dope dealer on speed dial, and but in our time together, it was like, well, hope is powerful. It's more powerful than drugs, actually, and so why not be a hope dealer? And once I said it, it just stuck, and I've studied hope for 30 years as well. Hope theory and hope practices, positive psychology of hope, and just all aspects of hope. So I'm immersed immensely in this concept, this idea of how humans thrive, and we thrive um, when we have hopes that are like basically realistic and meaningful goals that we're pursuing, but also kind of this ability to tell stories. Hope is huge in terms of storytelling and being able to see not just the silver lining, but the arc of a character
Wow.
and how they're grasping for a better future for themselves, for others. So hope is very powerful, and I want to be in it.
Definitely.
I want to be in it.
Definitely. I really like that. You took this negative piece of a person's life and flipped it on its head. You have a
Mm-hmm.
drug dealer, but I'm a hope dealer. And I can see that in the walks of life every day and even in business, because the people that we meet sometimes, they are struggling to have their business grow, and are unsure of the steps to take. And it's fulfilling to know that we can actually provide them with that proverbial light at the end of the tunnel, whether it be with what you do outside of your work, in working with people who need hope, and in the work that we do as marketers, as you know brand developers, and that's partially the reason why I chose the name, guiding brands, because I
Mm-hmm.
saw where over the years I became this guide, you know
Mm-hmm.
and over the years I got introduced by accident. I think I was searching for something years ago and came across Storybrand in its infancy and followed it along. And a couple of years ago, I took one of their 2-day workshops, and you were the guide that was actually at the lead, and for those 2 days. And so I've been kind of following you and
Mm-hmm.
thinking about having this conversation with you at some point when I started the podcast, and I'm glad that it's here. you
Yeah,
know
me too.
um yeah, I really
Yeah,
am.
I've been
And
following you as well, and you're a class act, and guiding people is you are a hope dealer too, because you're helping people, like you said, believe that their business can succeed, and
yes,
that's a big threshold to cross, to believe that you're actually going to make it when 50% probably don't.
thank you.
So. Hmm.
Thanks. I listen. You are one of those people that I look up to, frankly, in this space. I mean, you taught me in those 2 days a lot more than I had been doing on my own with Storybrand, and not being
Yeah.
certified. But so I appreciate you saying that, and
Yeah. Well, what takes the
yeah,
pressure off for both of us as marketers is I always tell people I'm not an expert. I'm a learner. And in this, especially in this day and age with AI, we have
yes,
to be learners. And
yes,
really who we're learning from is our clients and customers. If we're not listening to what they're saying and what their problem is,
yes,
we're gonna miss it. And so
yes.
I just love being a learner. It takes the pressure off and it makes marketing fun.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So, as I mentioned, this podcast is about marketing. And today I really want to talk more about story brand. And so, that piece of you, your marketing, the work that you do in marketing, you do it under the name Foresight Marketing. Can you tell us a little bit about Foresight Marketing and the services that you provide? Excuse me.
Sure. Yeah. So I got my master's back in 2008, 2009 in strategic leadership, but it was called strategic foresight. Nobody knew what that was. They thought I was getting, becoming a Jedi or something. But just the foresight word has stuck because I do look into the future and try and help my clients navigate from here to there. But so that's where foresight comes from. But yeah, so foresight marketing is very straightforward story brand. If you read the books on Storybrand, what they say you need is what I offer. So it's simple. The simple things are for my business is that you're going to get the messaging playbook, you're going to get a website, a killer website, and you're going to get a sales funnel. Just walking people through the process of engaging with you until they buy or until they subscribe or until they donate, whatever nonprofits, businesses, both.
Okay.
So those are I call them the three essentials. And basically, I love helping companies build assets. And in marketing, you can do things that you spend a lot of money on advertising or whatever. But an asset is something you own. It's something you get to keep. It's your message. It's your platform. It's your video. It's yours, and no one can take it from you. If the government shuts down TikTok, you still have a place to go. So. But that's what I love
Exactly.
doing. Mm.
Exactly. Awesome. Awesome. And how long have you been a certified guide, story brand?
Yeah, so certified. I'm in my third year. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So that's when you actually went full on into marketing and you chose story brand. Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's that's great.
I did it by myself, Storybrand for a year by myself, just reading the book and implementing what they said, and then
Mhm.
after a year of really enjoying it, thought, okay, let's dive in and become certified.
Okay. Um Well, and can you expand on that a little bit? What does it mean for the customer that you are a certified guide with StoryBrand?
Mm.
It's a framework that I use in my business, but I am not certified as opposed to you. So, what's the
Mhm.
difference?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because the beauty of Storybrand is that it is so simple that anybody could grab it and use it. The I think the difference is that even though it's simple, doesn't mean it's easy.
Hmm.
And the more practice you have in it, the more I think the more fruit you're going to see from it, the more benefit. And I think too, like when you're doing your own business, it's hard to have the objectivity to really nail the story brand script, to nail the story when you're in
Hmm.
it. You just can't see as well. So I feel like becoming a guide, it gave me just a very diverse perspective on so many different businesses and so many different, I guess, challenges, problems
Okay.
that people face,
And how to
and
overcome them.
yeah. And in the guide community, there's like 700 of us all over the world, and so we are on a Slack channel, and we can talk to each other about anything, and help each other problem solve. And so there's just so many different pieces of expertise that are coming in there. Just ask any question, and you're going to get help. So that is a beautiful thing about being a guide is that you have all these other guides that are trying to help you win and help you
Okay.
succeed. Yeah,
And then
it's a
you in
big.
turn pass that on to your clients, your customers through,
Hmm.
problem solving and so on. I love that. So,
Yeah.
um, would you say that that's your favorite thing about being a
Mm.
certified guide with StoryBrand?
Yeah, I would definitely. I feel like, Donald Miller says that as a business, you need to help people survive and thrive. And if you're not doing that, they're going to walk away. So, and we survive and thrive in a tribe. And so that's one of the strengths. The tribe is powerful, and they are just so positive and so upbeat. So I think they've become my favorite part. In the beginning, it was Donald Miller's clarity. Just
Mm-hmm.
in a voice of confusion, in a world of confusion, he had a voice of clarity. And I really needed that to know my next steps.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely what the framework does is so powerful too. So I would say initially it was the framework and then has
Mm-hmm.
become more the community.
Okay.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna back up again a little bit for the audience. Those of you that are not familiar with Storybrand, Storybrand was founded by Donald Miller, who is an established and published author of several books. And in reading his books, it's clear that he basically applied his ability to tell stories to marketing, and that's how I see marketing. I've always seen marketing as you telling your story, and sharing how you help, others succeed. And he just took it to another level. And you can learn more about Storybrand by going to storybrand.com or reading his books. And they're very easy reads. There's Marketing Made Simple, and there's Building a Story Brand, and what other one am I missing? I think those are the two primary ones that talk
Hmm.
about story brand and the
Yeah.
framework. So yeah, it's a marketing framework that he developed some years ago that has become almost like a movement,
Hmm.
and I just found it very simple. It just makes things a lot easier to digest, for the client to digest in terms of, talking about their messaging and so on.
Hmm.
So with that
Yeah.
said, can you share, what this framework is? Can you describe it for the audience for us, please? Knowing that you are
Yeah.
the official guide here. So
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a few, pieces to the framework, and it starts with a character, right? In every story, there's a character, and it's often the most engaging stories that we find are that it's a hero, and the hero is usually, surprisingly, a fumbling idiot, or just they don't have their act together, right? They're missing something. They don't have the power to get the job done, right? But we identify with this character as a very important, person, and we see ourselves in them, in their weaknesses and in their challenges. And this character, but has aspirations. They want to make the world a better place. They want their life to be better, so they have aspirations, but they encounter a problem. They come up against something that they can't solve. And maybe it's overcoming a bad habit, or maybe it's someone came and kidnaps their relative, and they have to go save them. They have this problem, and they just realize they can't do it on their own. They're about to give up hope, and they meet a guide. And so, in meeting this guide gives them kind of the tools they need to now be able to go and save the day. And the guide gives them a plan. It's a clear plan. This is how you do it. This is what you should do. This is the map to get into the lair and to slay the dragon. Like these are the clear steps. And then then the guide also just says kind of like a challenge, like it's time to take action. So there's a call to action that the guide has, and then the guide kind of lays out like, hey, this is what's going to happen if you succeed. This is the pot of gold at the end, and if you fail, this is what's at stake. This is how bad things are really going to be. And so it's just a story arc. I love just commenting to my wife about the recent Amazon commercial where there's a guy and I guess he's working the night shift, and he's kind of in a dingy space. I don't know if it's a factory or something. And he busts out his dinner, and it's kind of a
Mhm.
disappointing sandwich.
Mhm.
And then like in the next spliced images, you see him like seeing, on Amazon, oh, I can get that, waffle maker, or I can get that knife, or I can get these pieces, these tools. And he slowly accumulates these tools, and he's buying and he's making better food, not just for himself, but he starts sharing with his coworker, and his coworker is like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And the joy he has every time he just lifts that lid, when it's dinner time. And then he's at the end of the commercial. He's walking down the street, and he sees a sign in a window that says hiring chef, and he smiles. So he became something totally different. He became a chef, just in this whole short 30-second, 45-second commercial. That is kind of a story arc, right?
Mhm.
Going from down below to the aspirational identity of becoming something new,
Mhm.
which we all want to do.
Mhm. And in
Does
that
that make
story,
sense?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think that's a great analogy because in that story and in the story brand framework, you mentioned the hero of the story, and oftentimes as small business owners, we think that we are the heroes in the story.
Hmm.
We put ourselves out there saying that we are the best thing since sliced bread. We don't mention our customers. We don't talk about what it is that their needs are and how we actually solve them. We just talk about our accolades, probably, or our successes and how long we've been in business. And in
Right.
this commercial, the hero of the story is the character, that main character who's at work
Yeah.
trying to get something better to eat. That was his
Yeah.
that was
Not
his mission.
Amazon.
Right, not Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon,
Yeah.
excuse me, became the guide, or
Hmm.
is the guide in the story, guiding this person along a path to getting the tools and resources that they need to get to their ultimate goal, which, this guy probably didn't think about, or maybe he did. Maybe he did
Right.
think about it. Maybe he cooks really good at home, but coming to work, he's probably didn't have time, probably has another job, who
Right.
knows.
He's in a
you know
routine, and yeah.
exactly. And Amazon allowed him to cross that bridge, to bridge
Right.
that gap, and that's what marketing is. And that's what the story brand framework essentially does. So cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I would say you hit on something really important, Karen, is
mhm,
this, that is a huge paradigm shift for people trying to do marketing, is that are they going to focus on themselves and how great they are, or are they going to focus on their client and customer?
mhm,
And you're going to see it everywhere you look. You're going to see marketing that is mostly, look how amazing I am. I want to look good on the internet, as opposed to helping your customer look good and helping them win the day. It's like sometimes it's a mental impossible, bridge to cross, because I work with clients and they just don't get it. They just,
mhm.
no, I need to talk about me, and otherwise people won't want to do business with me unless I, look amazing, right?
Right.
So it is like a little bit of a belief to say no, change your focus and change it to the customer and client as opposed to yourself.
Mhm.
You have to look good on the internet. I'm not saying you don't. You have to look
True.
credible. You have to be the guide that has authority and credibility and, competency. You have to have that, but it's just one piece as opposed to the whole, the
Exactly.
whole thing.
And that comes out in the story brand framework. It's just that you
Mhm.
start off by saying, I know the problem that you have. This is how I
Mhm.
solve it. And these are the results that you're going to get. This is
Yeah.
how I do it. And I've been doing this for several other
Mhm.
people. So, having said that, as a guide yourself, you know, can you share a couple of stories, maybe, or maybe a story or two about a transformation that you've done or had with a client or the customer, or your
Mm.
favorite story.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Well, I think a lot of my clients are coming to me with very old websites, right? And they just haven't, they're just trying to show up for the first time, and they don't have quite anything put together. So when they come to the story brand framework and we walk together through it, I mean, a lot of light bulbs go off. It's like almost they get clarity
Mm-hmm.
on their organization that they didn't have before.
Mm-hmm.
They get to, you know, just kind of almost step back and say, wow, okay, I didn't know that it that all these pieces went together, so a lot of lights go on when people use the framework, and we do it together, and we create the message, and then
Mm-hmm.
when we implement it onto the website, it's just so it's just so simple, and they see it flow, that they really can appreciate, um, the beauty of it. So a lot of, I think every client just is able to feel better about what they're telling the world, um, and how they say things, and how to be consistent in what they're saying. So
True.
yeah,
True.
so
Do you have any?
that's kind of in a broad general sense. That's what's happening.
Yes, for sure. Do you have an example of one that you can share with the audience? A transformation that you helped a client go through?
Yeah, I'm thinking through this here. I was just my last client here in December. We were working through her website, and you can go to. It's almost done. It's not quite done, but strangertoneighbor.com, and it's she is basically a speaker, a trainer, does webinars, that kind of thing, to help um, primarily churches and seminaries, universities, basically reach people that are not like them. So diversity, equity, and inclusion. That would be her label, DEI. And her website originally was just kind of your typical speaker, author, coach website, where first image is about her, and it's just about what I do, with a question that invites them into the conversation for sure. But it was just a typical, this is why you should bring me in. And we worked together and we said, well, okay, let's just focus now. She loves Storybrand and she wanted to grab it. And she said, what are the problems of churches? Well, churches are dwindling in attendance, and their outreach efforts are dismal and a failure. And people just don't have the experience in diverse realities. So how do you even have a conversation with someone that's not like you? And so we address those problems of basically, the church is dying, and you're even if your church is healthy in terms of its, the community has been built, it's not
Oh.
thriving because it doesn't look like you're out. You go outside your front, your doors. It doesn't look like your community that's around you. You
Hmm.
don't have the different ethnicities, and you just don't have the diversity. And so, yeah, so she addresses the problem, and it really became a transformation for her website. Also, her being able to help her client and her people she's working with talk about it in a way that kind of reframes the conversation for them as well. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it was a big transformation.
And it
Mhm.
probably makes it very easy for anyone in her audience, churches, nonprofits, and so on that she works with, to see themselves in that story immediately when they land on that website. So
Yeah,
great. Okay, awesome. So I will check that out
yeah.
after for sure. Um, and you mentioned that your client, she loved the story brand framework.
Mhm.
Was it that she was actually trying this on her own before? Would you say this story brand is
Mhm.
something that someone can attempt to do on their own, a small business person can do on their own? They don't really need you or
Yeah.
I to help them?
Yeah, I think two things. One, she's very bright, brilliant lady, and so I told her at one point she was kind of pushing me to change the homepage, and I was kind of focused on one aspect of it. I was too focused on the client that I
Mm,
didn't make it clear enough as to what she did. Right. So I was
mm,
trying to swing the pendulum so much that it almost, she got lost in the
mm,
transition. So she said, well, is it clear what I do? And so she knew that on the hero page that it needs to be clear in like 3 seconds what you do. And so I said, hey, I'm not an expert. I'm a learner. And I'm hearing my client tell me something and I'm going to pick up on it. And I changed it. And we both were like, yep, that's it.
that's it.
That makes sense. So she was able to I think marketing is a conversation. So she was able to definitely improve the marketing that we did together. And but I would say this: one, she didn't have the time to do the whole thing and bust it all out and do the website and all that. So she
Hmm.
didn't have time. So she hired me to do it. Two, there's just also that um, it would have taken her probably 3 times as long to do it. And doing it together and then me doing it on my own, it's probably the smoothest experience that I've had yet. And so it
Hmm.
just flowed. The
Nice.
message came together super, super sweet, super smooth. And yeah, I love to find a theme for the website, for the landing page, like a one word
Hmm.
theme. If you look at, that's kind of my signature. If you look at my websites that I've done, one word usually pops out over all other, and that's the theme for the whole story. For hers, it's all in. So all is
Oh,
the word, and once we had that, it just kind of flowed
it clicked.
really well. Yeah, it really
Nice.
clicked. So we saved a ton of time for her, so she could focus on other things that she was doing, but also just um, I think what I brought to the table was just a lot of experience. So it made it a lot smoother.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wonderful. I I I experience something similar when working with some clients. Some don't want to do anything. They're like, you listen, you
Hmm.
take it, you do whatever you need to do. But the best experiences are the ones where you can collaborate with them. You can work with them to
Hmm.
actually produce because it's yours, and we don't want to just dictate to you what's needed for your business. And ultimately the goal is to help you improve your business, whether it be through donations or revenue, sales of
Hmm.
products or making appointments, whatever it is. That's ultimately the goal. And I believe that
Hmm.
Storybrand, excuse me, boy, again, this happened to me
Yeah,
last
time for a
time.
sip of Be the Guide. Be the
Be the guide.
guide.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry about that. Yeah. And that's ultimately what we want to do is just improve businesses and help people
Hmm.
succeed in life, and I'm grateful that you know we clicked on that level without knowing
Hmm.
it. We're both basically going in the same direction, wanting to help people,
Yeah.
and that's what Story Brand is about.
Yeah. Let me
Yes,
just
go
comment
ahead.
real quick on that.
Hmm.
Help people. And so I feel like there's three different types of marketing that's my theory. And so there's humor. It says three H's: humor, hype, and hope marketing. So humor, we all love a great, hilarious
Chuckle.
commercial that has absolutely nothing to do with the product, but we're going to remember the product because it was funny. And
Hmm.
then there's the hype, which would probably be a lot of your luxury brands or your perfumes. Like they're just, I am not going
Yeah.
to be a half horse, half man guy running across the beach, but boy, that I do want to try that fragrance. And then there's hope marketing, which is helping your client. It's helping them take the next step, but it's also helping customers take the next step to a solution to their problem. So it's
Hmm.
really clear about how they get what they need to make their life better. And that's what I
Yes.
love about Storybrand, because they're in the hope marketing space mostly. They're in some hype, when they deal with luxury brands, and
Hmm.
humor does play a part a lot of times. But ultimately, the framework is a clear path to getting a solution to your problem.
Well, yeah, and that's because we don't. Every business out there isn't on the same journey, on the same path, and serving the same people. So the
Hmm.
variety of businesses that we can serve, using the three H's,
Hmm.
is immense out there. And if we treated everybody the same way, using the hope theory, I
Hmm.
think we would lose. We wouldn't be winning at this, or we wouldn't. Our
Hmm.
clients wouldn't be winning if we applied the same to every
Hmm.
every every client, every project. So, is there one thing that you believe small businesses can take, one step that they can take right now, knowing that, there's seven
Hmm.
elements to the story brand framework? What one piece of the story brand framework would you say a small business person can take right now and do and implement in their business on
Hmm.
their own?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. So I feel like um, the first thing that comes to mind is probably more just marketing in general. One of the guides shared with me when she was onboarding me as a guide. She has been probably twice as long as I've been there, and so she just said, the secret of marketing is simple. It's about showing up, adding value, and then asking, how can I help you? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if businesses would just decide where they want to show up, and I know they want to show up across every platform,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but really you kind of niche down, and the riches are in the niches, as they say, the niche. So where is it that you want to show up? That's where your client is, but you want to show up there too, because you like it, you love it. And if you don't, then find a marketing agent who loves to show up there,
Right.
not someone who hates social media. But show up there and then bring value. So what is it that you're offering for free? You got to bring something for free that is contributing to people's success and helping them thrive. And then they're going to see the value that you add. And then there's something that you will offer that's not free, that's a service. And you just say, hey, can I help you with this? And you share your expertise. So I
Exactly.
would say just choosing where you want to show up. And that's a hard one right now because it's like, there's so many options of where you can show up and where you can spend your time. But, I think to answer your question, the piece of the framework is maybe listing out 10 things of what does success look like for my client. Put yourself in your client's shoes and list out the 10 things that would make them happy, would make their life better, and focus on their success and their happiness. And that will reroute your whole marketing, and your whole perspective. So focus on those things that are going to make their life better. That's what
Yeah.
I would recommend as a good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it one of the things that I always try to teach is, you know, what are the questions that you hear pop up often? What are the,
Mhm.
what are the challenges that you hear and see often? Talk about that. Start
Mhm.
with that, and it will flow through everything that you do. So great advice. Great advice. Great
Mhm.
advice. And
Yeah.
over the last few months, you have um, started to go into the world of AI. You are a big
Mhm.
proponent of AI, and even started your own podcast. Can you tell me how you're using AI right now? Tell the audience a little bit more about what you're doing and how they can actually leverage AI to in their businesses.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hope our listeners are tuned into the conversation because it's all about AI. And even if your head is buried in the sand, sorry, my dog's barking. Shut
That's all right.
up. um, is follow the money. Where is the just billions of dollars being invested, and where is like Bill Gates says this is bigger than the internet. So we just can't bury our head in the sand. It's here. The genie's out of the bottle. What are we going to do with it? And we could think it's going to steal you know copyrighted material and be on the defensive, which maybe is the stance some people need to take. But I'm in the playground, and that's kind of the where I think most people are at. They're in the playground of testing out this new
Mm-hmm.
thing. And the big breakthrough, and the way I summarize it, is that we can now talk to computers. Like the language model is there for us to clearly talk with computers, and then they can talk back to us in our language, whether it
Mm-hmm.
be English, Spanish, French, what they can talk to you. And now you can create stuff just with your natural language, which is you can create
Unheard
videos, you
of,
can
man.
create all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's so fast, just by using your words. So words have become even more important, right? They have that prompt engineering, like so you have to know what words exactly will describe this the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, AI is. I'm in the playground. I'm trying out all these different techs, chat bots. My latest thing that I bought was the R1 Rabbit. Have you heard of that?
No. Oh yeah, actually I saw your post. I saw your
Yeah.
post and I thought it was genius.
Yeah, they're funny. I mean, they just sold 40,000 units for a new device that really should not have sold any because you can't compete with the
You
iPhone
can't.
or your Samsung.
Right.
It's a stupid little square the only reason I bought it was because it's promising to be an agent, which we haven't seen really yet, an agent that takes actions on your behalf.
Hmm.
So if it can order me an Uber ride without me having to get on my phone, find Uber, choose a ride, pay, whatever. If I can just say, hey, can you order me an Uber ride? I want it to arrive in 10 minutes. And it does that. That's, that's next level. So
Personal assistant in the palm of your hand,
yeah,
literally.
yeah. And we know that Apple is now like, we better make Siri be able to do
Yeah.
that same thing. So
Hmm.
this box probably will be obsolete in 6 to 9 months,
Hmm.
unless Apple can't figure it out. Which I wonder if they can. I don't know. They seem
And
kind of behind.
when I saw your post and I clicked on the link, it reminded me, and I saw this device. It reminds me of the original Game Boy device.
Yeah,
That's what, that's what it looked like to me initially. I was like the first thing I thought of. It's like going back to
yeah.
my Toys R Us days. Very cool.
I know it is kind of like looks a little cheap with that little scroll
Yeah, yeah. It's
thing.
like
It
a
looks a
little
little like a toy.
little toy. That's what it looked like
Yeah,
to me. So that'll be interesting. I am not usually the early adapter kind,
right.
so I'm gonna wait to hear what you say, then I'll jump in. When are they
Yeah,
promising to deliver on those?
yeah. So they have sold out 4 batches. These rabbits are multiplying, and so I think they promised, on Easter, which is
Okay.
clever. But we'll see if I get it by then, and if it actually does what they promise it'll do. And there's still some lack of clarity on a few specs on this thing. But
Okay. Well,
yeah, so
it's
AI,
fun.
yeah, it's fun. I just want we be in the playground, test it out. But ultimately, I think helping clients figure out their tech stack in marketing. Like CRMs are annoying. They're big and bulky, and it just consume a lot of time. So how can we use AI to make that whole
Easier. Yeah.
process a lot simpler?
Hmm.
So what Salesforce is doing and what HubSpot is doing to make it simpler, and that's what I want to solve for the client, like the solopreneur who just doesn't have a
Hmm.
lot of time to deal with these things. Let's just what's the tech stack that we can build to make my
You're
life
so
simpler?
right. I've been
Mm.
researching CRMs now for the past couple of months, and I had a trial. They just emailed me yesterday to say that my trial ended. I didn't even get a chance to even test the thing. I just haven't had the time, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, I get it. Okay.
to
Well, when you
automate.
solve that,
Yeah,
let me know.
yeah, I
I'll be
will.
on that. I'll be a first adapter of.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
saying this is my client's problem, and
Hmm.
now let me solve their problem, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
mhm.
Okay. Okay. Um, and so what would you say then, for 2024? What's the
Mm.
big thing that you think, small business owners and marketers, you know, can do to assist them with their marketing this year? I mean, AI
Mm.
is at the forefront of everything. I mean, all the tools that we're using now have some integration with AI. And,
Mm.
is that where we should be leaning towards, what, or do we stay focused on the traditional marketing efforts, the things that are tried and true? What do you say
Mm.
for 2024? What do you see?
Yeah, I find myself in if I can just be an extremist for a second,
Okay,
um,
a good one, I hope.
and
Kidding.
just to help people get their head out of the sand. And that I would say that consumer behavior is going to change pretty drastically in the next 6 months to a year. So I question. I mean, people are saying no, SEO is not going to go away, but honestly, I do think it's going to go away. I think Google could lose its dominance in search. I don't think people are going to be searching for stuff the same way they used to. And I would say now, personally, 75% of my searching is just talking to ChatGPT. And the only thing I go to Google for is like a local service. Like if I want to know, okay, where can I get my tire changed? You know,
We lost you for a
so
second.
certain business. Yeah. Where did
Yeah,
you
you
lose
said
me at? Do you know?
75% of your time.
75% of my time is going to Chat GPT looking for answers. And so the only thing I'm going to Google for is where can I get my tire changed close to me? You know, you froze on me, Karen. I heard you say Bard and their tool.
Okay. Well, I think search is going to change. I don't know that it's going to go away completely.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to change. So, and I would say be a learner in 2024, be a learner, just a voracious, avid learner as much as you possibly can.
Pause.
Um, are you good? Are we good?
Okay. So we had a little bit of technical difficulty there. So in the midst of Rob's um, conversation about AI and search, um, I lost him. So here we go. So Rob, yeah. So what were you saying?
Yeah, I think ultimately, I can have extreme views. Those might not be helpful for people, but what I think the key thing is to be a learner in 2024, to expect things to change rapidly and to be on the long for the ride. And don't worry about falling behind. Everyone is behind. Everyone is trying to learn, not everyone, I should say. That's going to be the problem. If you're a business that's not learning, you will fall behind. But as long as you're learning, you're going to be okay because everyone else is learning. Um, and then I put in the chat, you can grab it, Karen, is a link to a new thing that Donald Miller just put out called the Ultimate Website Template for Your Business. So this is a great tool to create a website based on the Storybrand brand script. So makes it even easier for someone not certified to create their own website. So that's a tool. Grab that tool and use it for 2024.
Okay, I will include that in the show notes for sure. And yeah, we can talk all day about AI and the world is going to
Mm-hmm.
hell in a handbasket, and we all are going to be taken over by robots and all of that good stuff. But we still need to keep our feet
Yeah.
on the ground and focus on
Yeah.
what's right in front of us. So thank you for that. Thanks for that.
Right.
um and
Yeah.
this has been great. I learned so much about you, and that I didn't know before.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate your approach to marketing, and how you know the work that you do has helped organizations like the one that you described. And I will take a look at that afterwards as well. And so
Yeah. I'll put that
how
in there
can
for you as well.
Yes. How can someone, listening to this episode learn more about you? You can share some of the places
Mm-hmm.
where you can be found. And yeah, let's tell
Yeah.
them.
So where I'm showing up right now is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my place that I like to be, and so people can find me there. That's where the conversation can happen. You can find me on my website, foresightmarketing.ai, and take a look at the work that I've done. And yeah, those are the two main places.
Hmm. And he's leaving out the fact that he has a podcast himself. The name of that podcast is Rob.
GPT and me. Yeah,
GPT.
GPT and me. So if you want to, yeah, check that out. I haven't, it's really in beta right now, so I haven't made it full blown. Still figuring out all the bells and whistles. But yeah, just I love the voice of ChatGPT. I think it sounds like, I think her name is Sky, but sounds like, what's her name from, um, oh my gosh, it's slipping me. If you listen to her voice, you'll figure it out. So I won't spoil it for you because I can't remember her name. But anyway, she sounds just like her. It's a
It's
lot of
pretty
fun to talk
cool.
to her. But
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's
yeah,
like he's having a conversation with ChatGPT, and it's
Scarlett Johansson. Sky sounds just like Scarlett
Scarlett
Johansson.
Johansson.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
check it out,
Widow, Black Widow. Yeah.
GPT and me, take a look at that. And as you
Hmm.
said, you can find them at foresightmedia.ai and on LinkedIn. Just
Hmm.
search Robert Mattox, Mattox. I
Hmm.
learned my lesson. I spelled his name wrong once. So
Yeah.
yeah, but this was
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you so much. Outside of the little tech glitches there, but this was
Yeah.
this was great.
Well,
And
Karen, I look forward to learning from you as well. So thank you.
yes, same here. And I hope that maybe we'll have another conversation. Maybe this is just the first in several more conversations that we'll
Yeah.
have with the Guiding Brands audience. Thank you again. All right.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Take care and
Thank
happy
you for having me.
2024.
Take care.
All the best.
Like, likewise.
That's all for this episode of the Guiding Brands podcast. I look forward to sharing with you again next week. So please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Thank you and bye for now.